The Minotaur Project by Eugene Sheely. Chapter 2. It's funny, isn't it? We spend our entire lives dreaming of some change that will make everything better. But when we face death, what do we think about? Assuming we have enough time to think about it, our minds usually take us to our mundane, boring lives and cherish every moment we took for granted. The atheist will pray to God to please let him see through this, and all he wishes is for all this to be over so he can go back to a quiet life. He makes promises not to waste it if given another opportunity. However, only a few who are lucky enough to get another chance will actually follow through. They eventually fall into the same old habits. Their promises become eternal tomorrows that are abandoned like New Year's resolutions. But what do you think, my dear reader, you will wish for most if society collapsed, or you were dragged away from it? The same Americans who scoff at the culinary wonders of the American people, such as chips, burgers, fries, the American pizza, mac and cheese, or a brownie, will be the ones that miss these the most and say to themselves, "I should have enjoyed more of it." All that rice and dry chicken has done nothing for you, and you'll soon be dead, just like everyone else. But offer them one of these items again, and some will even murder for it. Yes, my brothers, I've seen it with my own eyes. The bashing of a skull with a rock for a simple Hershey's candy bar. The same worthless candy bar you overlooked your entire life at the gas station now becomes more valuable to you than the life of another fellow human being. But why? Why does a simple food item gain this much worth? Because it makes you forget for a moment that you're living in hell. A part of your mind thinks, this was all a nightmare. I am back to my boring life. I am back to being able to hug my family, pet my dog, have a movie night, and eat some wings with ranch. And it's that escape, as brief as it is, to the life you took for granted that now has you justifying murder. But on to our story. Probably the worst mistake you can make when going into the middle of nowhere is to assume that there's no one else around. Sarah was the only person that was recovered from a group of young adults who went camping. A hunter had spotted her with his scope from a distance, and she was walking in an odd manner, as if in a daze and stumbling. The man rushed to help her and said she was mumbling the whole time something like, "They took them, my friends, they took them." After several days, she opened up and told the authorities what had happened. They were in college, and they decided to go camping since they had a long weekend, enjoying beer, barbecue, sex, the usual. She stated that there were 7 of them, 4 men and 3 girls, and the intention was to stay one night, maybe 2. She was dating a young man called Dustin. The other names aren't important. The event happened on the first night. Music was playing loudly, and a grill had started. They had several coolers with beer, meat, and snacks. As nighttime came, she states she heard some noise in the bushes when it was dark, and at first, she thought it was one of them coming back from taking a piss. They were surprised to see a young girl dressed in what seemed like a combination of tattered clothing too big for her and some animal pelts. One of the men said something like, "Are you okay? Are your parents around?" The girl looked Caucasian, with blonde hair, but she was seriously disfigured. Her head was an odd shape, as if the frontal lobe had an air pocket and expanded unnaturally. She also had a balding patch. She looked really malnourished, so estimating her age was difficult. The little girl never spoke. A little later, a woman came along. Her hair was terribly tangled, and she grabbed the girl and scolded her. She then looked at the college kids. A moment of silence took place, and she eventually spoke, saying, "Do you have any Oreos?" The question was so bizarre to them. They were still trying to wrap their minds around the sight of this woman and child. She didn't seem to be disfigured but was certainly in bad condition. The woman repeated meekly, as if knowing she was doing something she wasn't supposed to, "Well, do you?" One of the women in the group said no, but they had cookies for making s'mores. The woman's face lit up with a smile, and she meekly said, "Could I have some?" The group was still looking at each other, confused, trying to gauge each other's reactions when a middle-aged man walked in behind the pair and angrily told the woman and child to get back. The woman looked concerned and pleaded with the man to calm down, saying that the group of college kids were safe and good people, and she was just asking for some food. Then she said, "Please don't hurt them." This obviously set off alarm bells for the group. The men got angry and started shouting things like, "State your business," or, "You better leave us alone if you know what's good for you." As far as Sarah could tell, there had only been one man who attacked them. She remembers one of the girls screaming as she witnessed a short axe planted in the skull of one of the men that Sarah assumed had been thrown. Daniel told Sarah to run back to the cars and turned around to fight the man, but she didn't know what happened after that. She ran in the wrong direction and got lost, but she was too scared to turn back in fear that the wild man was following her.